Welcome, and thank you for investing your time to join this training webinar this afternoon on discovering yourself. The fact that you are here shows you are serious about leadership and communication in business. If we have not met, my name is Phil Bajura, and one of the things I love most in life is helping others through sharing my learnings and experience with my passion relating to business. We have a lot to cover, so we'll be moving through this webinar quite quickly. Take as many notes as you need to. DISC is the acronym for the 4 primary behavioural traits that we all display. D is for dominance, I is for influence, S is for steadiness, and C is for conscientiousness. When you understand DISC, it enables you to become more aware of your own self, your colleagues, your clients, and potential clients. In understanding DISC at a higher level, it allows us to maximise our own potential. As a leader in your business or management team, it is important that you understand the DISC profile styles that you and your team members have. In understanding DISC, you will learn that not everyone thinks, behaves, or communicates the way that you do. My biggest learning about DISC was when I finally started to understand that whilst I may have been at odds with my peers or team members on how to approach a project, problem, or issue, ultimately, we were all aiming to achieve the same end goal. We just had different ways of thinking about how we would achieve the ultimate solution or the end result. When you learn this and tap into the knowledge you have gained through understanding DISC, you can start to utilise the different styles of your team members to the advantage of your team and the outcomes that you are aiming to achieve. So understanding the 4 DISC styles, it is important to note that we will all have some of each style in our own personalities, although we are usually more dominant in 1 or 2 of each style. So when we look at a D, for example, which is dominance, Ds are results orientated, they can be very direct, and they're also very competitive. The influence styles is about being enthusiastic, friendly, and can be quite optimistic. So people with the steadiness style, they're very sincere, they're patient, and they can be quite modest. And the conscientious style is about accuracy, having data to analyse, they can be quite cautious, and also very contemplative, meaning that it will take them some time to respond, even give you an answer. We'll also change our own styles depending on the amount of stress and pressure that we are under in the moment, and also in any situational circumstance of what we may be experiencing. Later on, I'll be giving you an opportunity on how you can access the DISC assessment tool to learn more about yourself, your team members, and also your customers. So DISC is simple to understand. DI, or dominant and influence, are outgoing. Steadiness and conscientious are reserved, and dominance and conscientious are task orientated, and the influence and steadiness people are very people orientated. So when you think about yourself, can you figure out your own primary traits? So do you think that you are outgoing or reserved? And then do you think that you are task or people orientated? This will start to give you a bit of a clue of what your own DISC profile is. Everyone has all 4 traits. We will all have a dominant trait for our natural way of being and in also our adapted work way of being. So let's explore these traits in more detail. When we look at the Ds, they're very fast-paced and also task-orientated. In terms of their behaviours, they can be direct and also guarded at the same time. The high Is or influence people will be faster-paced and people-orientated. Their behaviours will be direct and open. And the steadiness are slower-paced, they're people-orientated, indirect and open, and conscientious people are slower-paced, very task-orientated, indirect and guarded. So let's have a look at these traits in a little bit more detail. So in each of the different traits, you can either be high or low. So when we look at the Ds, they love to have problems to dominate, they're fast-paced, decision makers, and they like to lead. They talk quickly, communicate in bullet points, love to make decisions and solve problems. They strongly desire to be leaders. And quite often you will hear them say, let me fix it. This is how you spot high Ds. So they'll be very cool-faced, they'll have closed posture, they can be quite formal, and they will focus on the what. And their priority is on setting goals and achieving results. Some people may see Ds as being quite arrogant. When this happens to you, say to yourself, that's the D coming out in them, rather than saying to yourself, I don't like them. Their report card probably said, didn't play well with other kids. The types of roles that you would find high Ds in include management and or leadership roles. The high I traits for the influencer include, well, they like to be liked, and it's look at me. They're highly visual, it's all about colour. They tend to wear bright colours, drive cars that are very noticeable, and they like to be noticed. And they like to influence people, they're talkative, they're very interactive, and also very social. So the way that you identify or spot a high I is that they'll be very warm-faced, they'll have an open posture, they'll be quite casual, they focus on the who, and their priority is on people and approval. So rather than dominate problems, they like to influence problems. They are great social club presidents, they're very people-orientated, they can get other people to do things well, and they make contacts very easily. They don't take rejection very well, and they struggled in closing a sale. They're afraid of rejection. They can be everyone's friend, the centre of attention in a party. They will get the party going. They're easy to spot in a room. The types of roles that you can find high Is in include hospitality, journalists, and also high communication roles. The key traits for a high S or a stable person is that, well, I guess everyone loves doves, peace and love, and that's a high S. They won't hurt anyone, they won't pee people off. Each of the other types will have a trait that will annoy someone in some way. A high S will go along with people and be very adaptive in communicating and fitting in with everyone else. This is how you spot high Cs. They'll be warm-faced. They'll also have an open posture. They'll be casual. They'll focus on the how, and their priority is in cooperation and stability. They like to be part of the party, but not the centre of attention. And they make long-term solid friends. They can be so slow to change. They're not outgoing. They may hold grudges. They're like elephants and remember everything. Look the same as an I, but they can be reserved. They look at methodologies, they ask the how. Don't rock the boat, and they need to understand the why something needs to change before accepting the change. The types of roles that you will find high S's in include customer service, teachers, and stable long-term jobs. When we look at high Cs, we may be seen as the wise owl, someone who is seldom wrong. They can be procrastinators, slow to make decisions, need lots of detail and data to analyse, and at times may appear to be very anal in their expectations of others. They love procedures to follow. They can be quite rules orientated, really need and get into the detail. And they also, a positive side is that they're completer. If they start something, they will complete it to the end. How you spot high Cs is that they'll be quite cool-faced. They'll have a closed posture. They'll be formal. They'll focus on the why, and their priority is on quality and analysis. They don't like to see mistakes. If you're on a plane, you will want to wish that the plane has been built by a high C and not a high I. I wonder why. A high C will not leave until the task is completed. They're not interested in being part of a crowd. They just want to get on with it, get the job done. They're great proofreaders and they pick up on every little mistake. The types of roles that you would find a high S in include accountants, solicitors, and engineers. So let's have a look at 3 core disc focuses for each of the profiles. So what are the needs of each profile? A high D is about problems and tasks. They need challenges to solve and authority in taking control of the situations. They're decisive. What's observable is they're decisive, they're risk takers, and their fears is being taken advantage of or having a lack of control. In terms of the high I, we've already identified that their focus is on people. They really look for social relationships and friendly environments to work in. What's observable is that they're optimistic and they trust others. Sometimes they can be too trusting. And their fears is being left out or a loss of social approval. The focus for the high S's is on pace and or environment. So their needs are systems to follow, teams to work in, and having a very stable environment. Again, they don't like change. So what's observable is that they're patient and they can be a stabilizer particularly in conflict situations. Their fears are a sudden change or loss of stability and security. In terms of the conscientious people, their focus is on procedures. Their needs is that they need rules to follow and data to analyse. What's observable is that they're cautious and they make very careful decisions. Another observation will be that a high C in a meeting may not speak up much, but when they do, what they have to say is very worth listening to. The fears for a high or a conscientious person is being criticised or having a loss of accuracy and quality. In terms of DISC adaptability, is that the high Ds being faster, paced and task orientated, is you need to be clear, specific, be brief and be organised with an agenda. You need to stick to business and don't try and force that personal relationship. High Ds are not into, I guess, socialising and having social conversations, particularly when they're in their business mode. The high Is, or the influence people, is give them a spot in the limelight. Allow them to be the centre of attention. Create an atmosphere of excitement, fun and variety in the workplace. When they lose that atmosphere of excitement and fun, then they may tend to want to move on. In terms of the steadiness, it's about the relationships and being slower paced, is give them opportunities to contribute to the entire team. Be patient. You will need to allow them to think through and respond to their questions and concerns. And then the conscientious people is be prompt, don't be late, be prepared and be precise. Again, communicating with a conscientious person in a social manner will get them excuse me, what you need to do is allow them time to think and be comfortable with their silences. They will be thinking through the most appropriate answer to respond with. So when we look at high Ds, what do they do best? They take charge, they're very competitive, they will win at all costs, and they get things done. They can be very decisive, and at times people can feel that they are high risk takers. They're fearless. No obstacle is too big to overcome. They will have the view that can't is not in the vocabulary. There is a way, we will find the way to do it. And they're very focused on ensuring that there's bottom line results. They do want a return on their investment, both financially and also on their time. What they find hard is repetitiveness and doing the same tasks over and over again. They also find it hard to be diplomatic. They will tell things the way it is and they'll come straight to the point. They don't like lots of rules or regulations, and they can be quite closed in opening up. They're not shy, but very private about their own personal matters. In terms of the high influencers, what they do best is inspire others to take action. They can be very assertive and influential in getting people to do things. They think fast on their feet, they're optimistic, intuitive, and at the same time can be quite creative. They're full of ideas, that can be impulsive in trying them. The high Is tend to be easily distracted by the bright, shiny objects, which take them away from the task and focus at hand. They're great at promoting ideas and opportunities or including people as part of the process. What's hard for them is that they don't like restrictions or routines. Having a high influence person maintain KPIs on their activities or formal report or keeping detailed records is going to be a struggle for them. They become easily bored if there's too much routine, and they don't like redoing anything once if it's already been done. So the high S's for steadiness, and what they do best is they bring harmony to group situations. They're friendly and sensitive and great listeners. They'll build networks of friends to help them do the work that's required, and they can be coordinating and cooperating with others. They don't deal well with competition, so they're quite uncompetitive. They don't like working with dictatorial or unfriendly people. A high S will really find it hard to work for a high D type of DISC profile. They're slow in making big decisions and they dislike change. And they can be quite quiet in voicing any contrary opinions if they don't agree with something. What they do best, the high Cs and conscientious people, what they do best is they're highly organised. They even plan spontaneity. A high C will have a very clean desk. That will be one of the observable things that you'll note about a conscientious person. They plan thoroughly before deciding to act. They're quick to think, but slow to speak. And they're always planning to meet specified expectations. Very rarely will a high conscientious person miss a deadline. What they find hard is working with unpredictable people or in disorganised environments. It's hard being outgoing and open, and they'll be very closed about personal matters. So their social distancing will be much further than what a high I, for example, might be. In terms of working with others or in groups, they'll find that hard. They prefer to work alone. And they also dislike incomplete or unclear directions about what it is that you would like them to be working on. So in terms of managing relationships, it's increased the quantity of the communication in each of the different styles. But in increasing the quantity, you also need to work on improving the quality of communication, particularly for each different style. So, for example, the high D is be precise, quick, and clear. Be about the end result. The high Is, it's giving them time to discuss things in a social sense. The high S's, again, make sure that you're being quite clear about what it is that you want to achieve. And with the high C's, be slow in allowing them the time to think through the appropriate responses. So speak their language. Apply the platinum rule, which I'll come to shortly, and more importantly for yourself is adapting to each different style and the best way that they want to communicate. So DISC at work. Adapting your DISC style is relevant in every aspect of life, in your work relations, your personal relations, your family relations. social relations, and even sporting relations. Adapting to different situations as they arise will positively impact your thinking, your behaviour, and your communications, and assist you in achieving a better outcome in any situation or circumstance. So how can we utilise DISC profiling in our workplace? We can start with team and training, aligning the team towards a common goal. When the team understands each other's own DISC profiles, then they'll be able to much better work together. We can use it in leadership and development. It can be part of our training plans in developing the people that we work with and or report to us. We can utilise it in improving relationships with our customers. When you understand a customer's DISC profile, you can then communicate them in a way that will serve them better. And then we can also use it for recruiting and hiring the right people for the right jobs within our work environment. So when we take the assessment, there is a DISC report that comes as part of that assessment. And the DISC report is divided into 3 parts: introducing the DISC model, helping you understand your own style, and identifying ways that you can apply your style strengths or modify your style weaknesses in order to meet the needs of others. So part 1 focuses on understanding each of the DISC styles and identifying the characteristics, including the tendencies for each behavioural style. Part 2 is about understanding yourself and will reveal information about the tendencies that make you unique. And part 3 examines and explores the adaptability and offers actionable recommendations for you and others who interact with you. The platinum rule versus the golden rule. I guess when you start to understand that everyone thinks, behaves, or communicates the way that we do, and you begin to recognise the 4 core styles of DISC, then you can start to adapt the way you think, you behave, and how you communicate in your everyday life, and start to apply the platinum rule, which is treating others the way that they want to be treated. Most of us have grown up, and I'm sure you can remember your parents saying, treat others the way that we want to be treated. And that's the golden rule. And generally, we've made the mistake of assuming that others interact and think the same way that we do. So apply the platinum rule of treating others the way that they want to be treated. And understanding DISC is the best way that you can do that. If you want to learn more about the platinum rule, the book, The Platinum Rule by Tony Alessandra and Michael J. O'Connor is a terrific read and will help you understand DISC profiling and DISC much better. So if you are serious about discovering yourself and improving your communication with others, getting to know and understand yourself, your team members, and your customers is a great starting point. Please email me now to express your interest in completing your own DISC assessment and or for your team. Each assessment is $199, and this does include a one-to-one debriefing for you and your team's reports with me. Please reach out if you have any questions or concerns. I'm here to help. Now, we've covered a lot in the last 40 minutes or so. So please write down 3 to 5 key things of value that you have learned today and commit to what actions you will take immediately. Remember, action always beats intention. Thank you for investing your time today, and please remember to reach out. I'm here to help. And now it's time to get into action and be the best person that you can be.